Hello and welcome to the Syllabus Overview for Psychology 250, or Psychobiology. My name is Melissa Ferguson and I will be your instructor for the semester. Feel free to call me Melissa when you're emailing me, sending me Canvas messages, meeting with me via Zoom. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can also call me Dr. Ferguson, Professor Ferguson. And a few years ago, a student called me Dr. Fergie, and I kind of like that. So one question people often have with an online classroom is where and when do we meet? We do not meet in person. This is a fully asynchronous online class. So Canvas will be our classroom. It is online class. It is self-paced, but that doesn't mean you can complete the entire class in 1 week, whether it's at the beginning of the semester or the end. It will be self-paced, but it will be self-paced for you weekly. So modules will open up weekly on Monday morning, about 12:01. So if you stay up late on Sunday, you can always get started early. And most assignments will be due Sunday at about 11:59. Of course, this first week, there are always assignments that are due on Wednesday. We have to have that as a course or college requirement in order to make contact with our students and see if we need to drop people as a no-show if they don't complete those assignments. So please do complete those assignments. Taking you to our Canvas classroom. So here, when you go to our Canvas shell, this will be the home page. You'll see Welcome to Psychobiology. You can access the textbook here, the syllabus here, Zoom office hours here, and the modules directly here. There's also a Getting Started, little welcome, contact information, and Zoom office hours. Now when you go to the modules, you'll see the first module is all just kind of helpful information, right? So I don't have these modules set up weekly. I have them set up by content. So it's easier for you to go back and find the content that you need to find rather than week by week. So you'll want to go through and read all that important information. And then when you come to the first module, it tells you, okay, this is the week of 8/25. I always suggest starting on the welcome page. The welcome page of each module will give you a link to the textbook as well as a link to the PowerPoint slides. Now our textbook is an online OER. It's free. It's an open source that I have put together for this class. So if you click on this, it will take you right to chapter 1, okay? And this is just the first content page. You click next, you can start reading. If you go to the home page, and this is a Canvas module housed in Canvas. You can see there's a table of contents, so you can access the reading information this way as well. On that welcome page to each module, you'll also find the slides for that chapter. Now, if a link isn't working or something seems, you can't get through to something quickly or easily, please let me know, okay? I don't know unless students let me know. And then you'll see we start off right with some lecture information. So you'll want to read through the information on the page, watch the video. Again, reading through the module information, watching the videos linked on the page. And then here are some optional readings. And if I say it's optional, you don't have to. It's only if you're interested in that information and want to read further. And then here's our first discussion. Remember, for discussions, you're going to respond to at least 2 other students, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go back to modules here and show you that there are 2 important assignments that are also due in that first module, which is kind of a introductory information, a syllabus quiz, as well as an introductions video. And then you'll see this module would have opened up earlier over the weekend on Saturday. This module 3, won't open up until September 1st. So it's on September 1st, because it's the week of September 1st at 12:01, you'll be able to start accessing all of this lecture material and the lecture videos. Again, I already showed you our text, but it is an OER text. I've named it Introduction to Biological Psychology. I put it together for this class specifically in 2024. However, if you'd like a hard copy of a textbook, the previous text that I used is Colot Biopsychology. It looks like this. The 12th or 11th edition would also be fine. If you're someone that wants to have that actual textbook to read, take notes, whatever, you can take notes using mine, but if you want a hard copy of it, you could print up the Canvas pages, but you can also go ahead and purchase one of these older editions of Colot. email is going to be the best way to get a hold of me. Please put your name and the CRN, our course number, in the subject line. That lets me know who you are. I have multiple sections of classes. I have lots of different classes. If you email me directly through Canvas, it puts that information there, but just make sure if you're sending me a direct email with my email address, that you put that information in. My office is in Lytton Lang, 378, so that's the third floor of the Lytton Lang. My office hours will be Monday and Wednesday, 1 to 2 p.m. in person. I can also Zoom at that time as well. Then Tuesday and Thursday, I will have Zoom office hours, and also I'm available by appointment, and the Zoom code is on the home page of that Canvas classroom. Course description. This is Introduction to Biological Psychology, so it's the study of the biology of behavior. We'll start off with the nuts and bolts, structure, function of the brain, basically, neurons and glia, development of the nervous system, hormone systems, and then that'll all kind of be the first half of the semester, and then the second half we'll go and talk about behavior, sleep, movement, sexual behavior, mental illness, the effect of drugs, the basis for addiction, learning, memory, intelligence. The tests will be primarily on lectures, but there'll also be some information in the text, and then of course any assignments, activities, or other supplemental materials that I've provided for you in the Canvas pages are also free game for exam questions. I wanted to spend a moment differentiating between classwork versus homework. So a lot of times students think, oh, the homework is due on Sunday, I'll just wait and do everything on Sunday. I don't suggest that. That's not the best way to be successful in an online class, especially this class. So the module pages and the lecture videos, those are lecture material. Like if you were going to class, if we met Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday, Thursday, you would get that information on those days of the week. Then I have participation assignments. That's also lecture time. So there's short little quick checks, the discussions, all those really are part of the lecture material. So again, if you were in a face-to-face class, you'd be getting that on Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So I suggest breaking the class up into smaller chunks so that you retain more information. Homework would be reading the text, doing larger assignments. I have approximately one per chapter, and then studying and the exams. Okay, so try to get out of that mindset of, I'm just going to do everything for this class on Sunday because everything in those modules is homework. No, it's lecture material. It's really what you would get during lecture time, and then the homework would be minimal. And that seems like it's fair game to complete on Sunday, although everything is due on Sunday at 11:59, with exceptions, especially this first week. So how to succeed. Navigate the pages in order. Do not go directly to your dashboard and look and see what assignments are there. If you start at that welcome page and you just keep clicking next, you'll get the reading that you need to do, watch the lecture videos you need to watch, and then the assignments will come up that are related to those module pages in that lecture material in order. So read each page, watch all the videos, and don't want to forget, take notes, just like you would in a face-to-face class. Don't skip assignments. Don't fall behind. I know it happens sometimes, but please check out what the late policy is within the syllabus. It is a 10% reduction per day, and I will only accept assignments up to 2 weeks or until the material is tested on. Reach out and connect if you need help. Come see me during office hours via appointment. Email me. You can also visit the Student Success Center, which is now called the Tutoring Center, and connect with other students. Start a study group. Meet some of your classmates. Even if though you're online, you can still meet some of them and you can use each other to be helpful. Not on exams, of course, but to help understand the material better, to talk it over. That's a great way to be successful. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, again, my name is Melissa, and I am your instructor for the semester. This is me and my husband. We just celebrated our wedding anniversary, and these are my 3 children, Camille, Tyler, and Carrie. So I got my bachelor's at San Diego State. I thought I wanted to be a clinical psychologist, and I did a lot of developmental psychology research when I was doing my undergraduate. I thought I was going to be a clinician, kind of decided that that's not the way I wanted to go, so I stayed at San Diego State and I did a master's in psychology. And I went into a physiological psychology lab, which is why this is the perfect class for me to teach. The research that I did was on Wernicke's-Korsakoffs. I worked in an animal model. I sliced brains. I stained brain tissue. I counted mast cells and neurons and glia and all sorts of things. And they were all very pretty, and I really enjoyed doing that. And so I ended up doing a PhD in neuroscience at USC. And my area of emphasis for that was aging and plasticity in the brain. The stuff that I was researching was kind of on the fringe of Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, stroke, so various neurodegenerative diseases and types of brain damage. I then went really far away from psychology and did a postdoc in biochemistry. So I had just had my first child, and I wanted to stay in Southern California. So I went to the School of Pharmacy, which was just across the quad, and I was supposed to bring what they knew about the brain, or biochemistry, and what I knew about the brain, and kind of bring them together. Unfortunately, a lot of their assays didn't work in the brain because the brain is a very fatty tissue. I did some cool research on aging, different tissues, skeletal muscle, kidneys, heart tissue, and I also worked with a Drosophila or fruit fly model, which was really interesting. I was finding that where I'd found myself in biochemistry was not very family friendly, and I wanted to get back to psychology a little more, and I had not taught. So I looked for teaching positions, and I became an adjunct professor, and I taught for 12 years, mainly at Cerritos, but also Long Beach City, Golden West, and here part-time. It was a great gig. It allowed me to use my degrees, keep my brain active, and I fell in love with teaching. While I was also raising my children, able to spend lots of time, help out at school, take them to fun places like Disneyland and the park and all sorts of play dates. And then when my youngest, Camille, was in, I think, kinder or first grade, I applied for full-time positions, and I became an assistant professor here at OCC. I started my tenure track program in 2019 and became fully tenured in 2024. I love it here at OCC. It's a great group of faculty and staff. I love the students that come in year after year, and I'm happy to be here and be your instructor. And here's just some more recent pictures. So this is my family this summer in Palm Springs. This is my oldest, who's now 19 and a sophomore at Santa Clara University. She's a softball player there. This is my youngest, who's also a softball player and is in 8th grade. My son plays football, and he is a sophomore in high school. And then this is our new puppy that we adopted last spring. We rescued her from an animal shelter. Her name is Sammy. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram. I try to post things that are somewhat relevant to our class. Some of it's my own personal content, some of it's things that I share. And then my YouTube account has all my videos, although of course they're in our Canvas classroom as well.